I knew something was wrong when the waiter asked, "Are the others running late?" I smiled politely and said, "They're on their way." But they weren't. I had booked the table a week ago. 6 seats, one for each person I thought would come celebrate with me. My mom, my brother Tyler, my cousin Natalie, my uncle Jack, my best friend Cam, and me. But only I showed up. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I wasn't even sad. Just embarrassed. I sat in a quiet corner next to the window, dressed up nicer than usual. I even wore heels, even though I hate them. Every now and then I looked at the door, hoping someone would walk in with a smile and say, "Sorry, I'm late." But no one did. The waiter came back and asked if I was ready to order. I asked for the wine list and picked something I hadn't had in years. I tried to stay calm, like nothing was wrong. I checked my emails, opened Instagram, answered a few work messages, anything to avoid looking like the woman who got stood up by her own family. Maybe they were just late, maybe stuck in traffic. Then my phone lit up with a message from my mom. I opened it, expecting a sorry, or at least a be there soon. But it said, "You're not exactly a priority right now. We'll catch up soon. Enjoy your dinner." I read it again and again, hoping the words would change. But they didn't. That was it. No sorry, no congratulations, just pushed aside like I didn't matter. I looked around the restaurant. Other people were laughing, toasting, celebrating. And I sat there with my glass of wine and 6 empty chairs. I didn't know it yet, but that message told me something I'd been ignoring for years. I was never really included in the celebration. I was just the one expected to pay for it. That night, I went home and didn't even turn on the lights. I sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing my heels, staring at that message like it was a photo from a moment I didn't want to remember, but couldn't forget. You're not exactly a priority right now. Those words stayed in my head, and suddenly, so did everything else. All the birthdays they forgot. The time I paid Natalie's rent and never even got a thank you. The nights Tyler called crying after another failed business idea. I wasn't just being forgotten, I was being used. After our dad died, the family started falling apart slowly, like a roof with a small leak. At first, I didn't mind helping. I had a good job in marketing, made decent money. I told myself, why not? I'm single, no kids. This is what family does. But then it became every month, then expected, then demanded. I paid the mortgage on the house I hadn't lived in since I was 22. I covered the bills when Mom lost her job. I bought Tyler a used car. I even paid for Thanksgiving dinner. No one asked how I was doing. They were too busy praising Tyler's next business idea. "You're just so good at managing things," Mom would say. "Not everyone's built like you, sweetheart." And I believed her. I thought that because I was strong, I had to carry everyone. I thought I was building something, safety, family, a future. But really, they were building their comfort, and I was the one paying for it. And the worst part? I didn't even see it until I looked at that table and saw 6 empty chairs, saved for people who didn't care enough to show up. And you know what hurts more than being forgotten? Being used. And then forgotten. A few months before that dinner, Tyler asked me for $2,000. He said it was for a project and promised to pay me back soon. I sent the money without asking questions. Later, I found out from Natalie he used it to buy a motorcycle. When I asked Mom about it, she just said, "He's doing something for himself. It's not like he has anyone else looking out for him." I stared at her. "And who's looking out for me?" She didn't answer. She just patted my hand and said, "You always help. That's just who you are." Maybe it was. Maybe I was raised to be that way. The strong one. The helper. The one who never asks for anything because they think I already have everything. But that night, sitting in the dark, still in my heels, staring at my phone, I finally realized something. Being strong doesn't mean they love you more. It just means they think you can take more. And I had, for 5 years. They called it generosity. I called it duty. But after that dinner, I started calling it what it really was. Debt. Not just money, emotional debt. I don't know how long I sat there that night, scrolling through old bank transfers, texts, and family photos, trying to pinpoint the moment I became invisible. Maybe it had always been that way. Maybe I just didn't want to admit it. My phone buzzed again. I hesitated. A small part of me still hoped. Maybe it was someone reaching out saying, "Sorry we messed up," or "Are you okay?" But it wasn't. It was a photo from Natalie. The image took a second to load, but when it did, something in my chest went still. There they were, my mom, Tyler, Natalie, and Uncle Jack, standing outside a waterfront restaurant, all smiles and wine glasses. Tyler stood front and center, holding a shiny black motorcycle key in one hand, throwing up a peace sign with the other. His jacket looked new. So did his watch. The caption read, "Celebrating the Dreamer." He finally got his moment. I stared at it like it was a riddle I couldn't solve. No one had mentioned plans. No one had said anything about going out that night. And definitely no one had said anything about Tyler getting a motorcycle. Partially, funded by the down payment I gave them just weeks ago. Then I saw the timestamp. The message from my mom, the one that said, "You're not exactly a priority right now," had been sent an hour before that photo was taken. They hadn't forgotten me. They made a choice. They didn't show up to celebrate my promotion. Instead, they threw a party for my brother using my money and didn't even bother to lie about it. That kind of clarity doesn't come with fire. It comes with stillness. A silence so sharp it slices through every excuse you've ever made. For the people who were supposed to love you, Tyler didn't earn that moment. He absorbed it. And I paid for it. They called him the dreamer, the one with potential. I was just the safety net, the one who caught everyone else, the one no one looked at until she stopped holding the rope. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my phone. I didn't text anyone back. I stood up, took off my heels, walked to the kitchen, poured another glass of wine, opened my laptop, and pulled up a spreadsheet I hadn't touched in months. Family support. Private. Do not delete. Each tab had a name, each line a date, rent payments, utility transfers, emergency car repairs, groceries, holiday gifts, co-signed loans, all color-coded by recipient. When I reached the last tab, the number at the bottom read 82,410.37. That's what I had. Given. Silently, steadily, over 5 years. It's jarring to see your love itemized. It's not really about the money. It's about the mental space. The assumption you'll always handle it. And I had. Until now. I opened the banking app. Logged into the shared mortgage account I'd agreed to help cover after Dad passed. The next payment was due in 6 days, $118.30. Autopay was still enabled, pulling from my account on the 10th of every month. I clicked Cancel Autopay. No warning, no guilt-inducing. Are you sure? Just a small green check mark. Done. I stared at the screen for a moment. Then grabbed my keys. The night air was cold, crisp. One of those nights where the world feels like it's pausing just for you. When I got to my mother's house, the lights were off. I didn't ring the bell. I didn't wait. I pulled a sticky note from my purse, wrote 5 words. Let him handle it now. Underneath, in smaller writing, "You raised me to care for everyone else. You never taught me how to care for myself." Then, I turned, walked to my car, and drove home. No music, no tears, just the hum of the engine and the sharp, steady beat of my own heart. Some people announce boundaries with speeches. I set mine with silence and a Post-it. The next morning, I woke up to 42 missed calls, 17 from Mom, 9 from Tyler, a handful from Natalie, one from Uncle Jack. The rest, unknown numbers I didn't bother checking. I didn't answer, but I did listen to the voicemails. The first was Mom. Her voice was tight, frantic, like someone trying to sound calm but cracking between syllables. Macy, what did you do? I got a call from the bank. They said the mortgage payment didn't go through. You can't just pull something like this without warning. Tyler's finally doing well. You're going to undo everything. This isn't how family behaves. That last line echoed. This isn't how family behaves. Interesting, because I could have sworn ignoring your daughter on the most important night of her life was how family behaves. The second voicemail was Tyler. Defensive, irritated, entitled. Seriously? You just pulled the plug? Without warning? You're making Mom freak out. We were figuring it out. You could have talked to us first. Talked to us. Like how they talked to me before throwing a celebration dinner I wasn't invited to. The third message was from Natalie. Hers stung the most because she didn't even try to pretend. Wow, so now you're punishing us over one dinner. Grow up, Macy. You always act like you're some martyr. Like you're the only one who works hard. Newsflash. Tyler's been hustling too. He finally gets a win, and you make it about you. That one stuck with me. One dinner, as if it were just about that. Not the years of invisible labor. Not the money. Not the birthdays spent alone. Not the fact they celebrated themselves on my dime. And never once celebrated me. To Natalie, it was just one dinner. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, scrolling through the missed calls like they were pieces of a puzzle that would never form an apology. No one said sorry. No one asked if I was okay. They just wanted something fixed. It was never about what I gave. It was about how quietly I gave it. The moment I said nothing, I was useful. The moment I said no, I became the problem. Later that afternoon, I got a text from Cam, my college roommate, one of the few people who truly knew the story. Hey, my mom said your mom called her, said you're spiraling, that you're having a breakdown or something. You okay? I stared at it, then replied, No, I'm not spiraling. I'm finally standing still. Cam didn't push, just wrote, Proud of you. For real. And that somehow hit harder than anything else that day, because it was the first time someone didn't ask me to fix it, to explain, to be okay for everyone else. They just saw me. The more I replayed those voicemails, the clearer it got. I hadn't disappointed my family. I just stopped being their safety net, and to them that was unforgivable. I didn't expect anyone to take my side, so when my phone rang again that evening and I saw Uncle Jack's name, I almost didn't answer. But something about him always felt different. Quieter. Calmer. On the edges. Like me. I picked up. Hey, I said, voice steady. He paused, like he didn't know where to start. Macy, he said finally. You've got to talk to your mom. She's a wreck. I let the silence sit. Is that what she told you? I asked. That I'm the problem? She says she didn't know how left out you felt. I let out a dry laugh. She didn't know? She literally texted me, said I wasn't a priority. In those exact words. He went quiet again. That silence said everything. I think, he said slowly, deep down. She just assumed you'd always take care of it. There was no malice, no defense, just honesty. Everyone did, I said. They always assumed I'd handle it, that I'd clean it up, that I'd never stop showing up. He exhaled, low and rough. You were never the weak one, he said. You were just too generous. That line, simple as it was, stuck with me because it was the first time someone in my family told the truth without twisting it. For the first time since everything fell apart, I felt something close to relief. Not Because someone finally agreed with me, but because someone finally saw me. It didn't fix anything, but it reminded me that I wasn't crazy for walking away. 3 days after I stopped the mortgage payment, my mom showed up at my apartment. She didn't call, didn't ask if I was home, she just came. When I opened the door, she stood there with a tote bag in one hand and an old photo in the other. I recognized it instantly. Me at age 6, dressed as a sunflower in my kindergarten play. Her favorite photo of me, she always said. I didn't invite her in. I just stepped aside. She walked in slowly, like she was stepping into a stranger's home. Her eyes scanned the room. The walls, the bookshelves, the furniture. There were no family photos, no signs of her. "You redecorated," she said quietly. "I removed what didn't belong," I replied. She flinched just a little, then sat on the edge of the couch and gripped the photo tighter. "We're going to lose the house," she said. I nodded. "I figured." Her voice cracked. "You can stop this. One call to the bank and—" "No," I said flatly. She blinked like she didn't understand. "No? I'm not calling the bank. I'm not making the payment. I'm done." Her face stiffened. "Macy, this isn't just about money. This is about family." I almost laughed. "No, this is exactly about money, because that's all I've ever been to you." "That's not fair," she said. "You texted me the night of my promotion dinner to say I wasn't a priority, while you were out celebrating Tyler with the motorcycle I partially paid for." Her lips parted like she wanted to defend it, but nothing came out. "You didn't even pretend to feel bad," I continued. "You didn't check if I got home. Safe. You didn't say sorry. You waited until the mortgage bounced to care." She stared at the photo. "I didn't realize how much you were covering," she whispered. "That's the problem," I said. "You didn't want to realize it. You just wanted me to keep doing it so you didn't have to think about it." She shook her head. "Tyler's not like you. He needs more help." "No," I said, calm but firm. "He needs consequences." She looked up, her eyes glassy. "He's your brother." "And I'm your daughter." There was a long pause. "I didn't think you'd actually walk away," she said. "I didn't walk away," I replied. "I stopped being used." Her hands tightened around the photo. I could see her searching for something, an old trick that used to work. Guilt, sadness, deflection. But none of it landed. "What are we supposed to do?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "Figure it out. Like I did. Like adults do." She stared at me, and in that moment, I didn't see a mother. I saw a woman who had leaned so long on her daughter's strength that she forgot she was supposed to be strong too. Eventually, she stood, smoothed her shirt, picked up her bag at the door. She looked back. "Is this really the end?" I didn't answer right away. I thought about all the birthdays I spent alone, the calls that only came when something broke, the years I gave and was never seen. "It's the end of me pretending this was love," I said quietly. She didn't argue. She just nodded, opened the door, and walked out. No yelling, no drama, just silence. And for once, it didn't feel empty. It felt earned. The next morning, I checked. The shared mortgage account, no payments, no one had even tried. They were waiting for me to cave, to be the bigger person, like always. By noon, the group chat lit up. Natalie renamed it 3 times in 1 hour. Emergency, mortgage crisis, family unity chat. The last one came with a broken heart emoji and a waving hand. I muted it. I didn't even open the messages, except once just to read a text from Uncle Jack. It said, "I warned them this would happen. You were never the weak one, just too generous." I screenshotted it and saved it. When you've spent years doubting your worth, sometimes one clear sentence can feel like armor. 2 days later, the bank called. A woman asked for me by name, mispronounced it a little, then cleared her throat. We've noticed the last 2 mortgage payments haven't been processed. Is there a reason for the interruption?" I answered calmly, "I'm not the responsible party. I removed myself from the title 3 years ago. I was helping voluntarily." She paused. "I understand. But the homeowner listed you as the financial contact. She said you always handled it." "Of course she did. That was the plan. Say nothing, do nothing. Let me catch her again." "I'm afraid that's no longer the case," I said. Another long pause. Then she thanked me and hung up. That evening, Tyler showed up. Not at my door, but in my parking lot. He parked his shiny black motorcycle front and center like it was some kind of peace offering in bad taste. He wore sunglasses at 6 p.m. and paced next to his bike yelling on the phone. I didn't go down. I didn't need to. I knew the routine. Panic, blame, guilt, distraction. Repeat. This time I stayed upstairs. I watched from the window, arms crossed, and for the first time in years, I felt no urge to fix anything, no impulse to shield him. I just stood there, still, silent, detached. They weren't falling apart because I stopped caring. They were falling apart because they never learned to stand without leaning on me. The next day was payday, and for the first time in years, my account didn't show a giant deduction for someone else's roof. No emergency transfers, no quiet, bleeding from my balance. The number sat there, whole, untouched. And I didn't feel guilty. I felt steady. I made coffee. Real coffee. Not the instant kind I used to drink to save money. I sat on my balcony, sunlight on my knees, and watched the same neighbors with the same dogs walk past the same trees. But everything looked different, not because the world had changed, because I had. That afternoon, I closed the shared mortgage account completely, deleted the login, removed the reminders, wiped the spreadsheet from my desktop. In its place, I opened a new folder and named it after me. Inside, I saved a blank document titled, "What I Owe Myself," because it wasn't just about money. It was about time, peace, rest, birthdays, the right to say no without being called selfish, the right to ask for things without being told I already had enough, the right to exist without being used. Later that week, I booked a solo trip to Lisbon. It had been on my list for years. I bought the leather jacket I'd tried on 6 times, and never let myself have. I signed up for a weekend writing class. I pulled out the half-finished novel I'd abandoned 5 years ago and started reading it again. Page by page, I remembered what it felt like to belong to myself. That night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I already knew what it was. Guilt, panic, manipulation wrapped in polite words. A cry for help from people who only knew how to demand. So I turned my phone face down, poured another cup of tea, and kept writing. Some people lose their family when they walk away. I lost mine the day they decided I didn't matter. All I did was finally agree with them.